My friends, Joe Wright here, and as you're aware, I'm making a series of childhood Super 8 movies from the 1960s and 70s that my parents filmed, and I inherited all these pictures when when my father passed away. Many of these movies I hadn't seen in 50 plus years. I forgot they even existed. And in addition, some of them that I did remember of, it brought back some incredible memories. This is a very brief little film. It's just a minute or two long. I've stretched out a little bit with just giving some background. But basically, this is my Cub Scout experience at Pier Marquette State Park. This is Mark Horn, Timme Berthold, which I'm now friends with on Facebook. And this is me, Joe Wright. And you're also going to see my mom and father in this very little short vignette of a film. So just to give you a little background, which I think is important, this is Pier Marquette State Park. It's in the state of Illinois, but it's a treasured state park with people in St. Louis that go there all the time. And it was a big part of my childhood, including this video that you're going to see here. Many of my camping, bicycle activities, a friend of mine, actually friends, we would bicycle to Pier Marquette, which was about a 20-mile round trip, as I recall. Addition, I was into competitive bicycle racing when I was a teenager. A lot of these races would either start in Pier Marquette or we go through Pier Marquette as a teenager. And we also had a lot of church activities at this location too, including church camping activities, which just incredible memories here. So one thing I want to point out is, and this is important in the video, which you're going to see, is that two very large rivers, the Mississippi River and the Illinois River, the confluence is right at this location. And then at Alton, there's a dam here that backs up a lot of the river in this area. And so the river system in this area is absolutely huge. It's like a big, slow-moving lake. And as a teenager, friends of ours at church would have boats and we would go water skiing all the time at this location during the summertime here. And it was really strange to be water skiing and a barge would come by on the river and create this big wake system. So you had to watch out for these barges at this location. And so this next clip right here is basically Pier Marquette State Park. And as a child and teenager, I always thought it was absolutely gigantic. The reality is it really wasn't that big, but you know, when you're younger, things always look bigger what they really are. And the video that you're going to see is mostly occurring at this point right over here, and the river system right here on the Illinois River. So, for those that don't know, just a really brief history, Pier Marquette State Park during the 1930s received a lot of improvements during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, there was a lot of young men that were unemployed, and so what the government did is they created what's called the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, which they put, it was like an army, civilian army, where they would send young men to various state parks and national parks and have them build the trail systems. Much of the trail systems, hiking trails that you have today in the United States were created by the CCC. But they also did things like build lodges, which this lodge right here in Pier Marquette was built during the 1930s by the CCC. And it is absolutely a beautiful treasure to both the state of Missouri and Illinois. And it has all these incredible ship timbers that they basically just cut down trees and use these and carve these ship timbers that create this lodge. When you go inside, it's absolutely beautiful. So this is a photograph that's been colorized from the 1930s. The next picture is what it looks like today, and it's not as romantic looking as the picture that we just saw, but it's still beautiful. So this is the Illinois River. This is more towards Chicago, what you're seeing right here, but by the time it gets to Pier Marquette and hits the Mississippi River, it's absolutely huge. And just imagine water skiing on a river with this barge going by and dodging the barges. So with that, this is, and you can't really see much because Super 8 movies, you never knew what you were getting until the film was developed, but they did not work very good when there was huge contrast between light and dark. So you can see the shade here and the non-shaded areas right here. It just doesn't film very good. But this is a Cub Scout activity, which I was really into Cub Scouts when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. I just absolutely love it. By the time I got to scouting, I did not like the Boy Scout activity like how I did Cub Scouts. But what you're going to see here is a bunch of people that you just silhouettes. But this right here, I immediately recognize that silhouette as my mother, and my father must be filming this video right here. But Mom, gosh, I miss you so much. I wish I could go back in time and give you a hug. So this is me, the silhouette, and I'm going to do my feats of strength. I was always climbing. In fact, I still climb trees today. So here I go. This is very slippery. I want to go to the top, but I keep on slipping down. I never quite make it. And here I go. I slide down. So this is the Illinois River, and this is the barge system that you can see. Now I'm just going to stop it right here. This silhouette is of my mother and me, and this just captures everything about my mother. Just how loving, how much she loved her children, and it's just shown in this picture right here. How gentle, how she's trying to show interest in some piece of whatever I picked up. I was just fascinated with bark and twigs and whatever, and just look at the gentleness and the caring and trying to show interest in what I'm showing. And this is just this volumes of my mom. So this is my father and me. My stepfather, I consider my father. My biological father was an alcoholic, and he left our home permanently when I was about 5 years old. I don't really have much of memory, and very little of that memory is actually good memory. And my stepfather, Ron Hull, was incredible. And I was just blessed with two very loving parents. And so this is, we're exploring the Illinois River. A barge came by, and waves came towards the shore, and I kind of got sucked into it. It's very slippery right here. And my mother kept on filming as her son was struggling to get out of this darn river system. And there's the hated barge that caused all this trouble here. This is what the film is all leading up to. These are two of my childhood friends. This is Mark Horn, Timme Berthold, and this is me right here. And I want you to notice the size difference, the odd couple that we are, and we're just goofing around as 9-year-olds. And so here we're doing a human pyramid, and wouldn't you know it, the smallest guy in our grade at Mark Twain Elementary School, and the two largest men in 9th grade, Tim and Mark right here, they are in the top. I gave it my best shot here, but eventually it just collapsed under the weight of these two children. We had a lot of fun together, the three of us in Cub Scouts. After 4th, 5th grade, Tim and I, we just weren't in the same class, but Mark and I continued for another year or two of being friends, and it was really hard to be friends with him because he was just so giant. Just talking to him was a big deal, and this emphasizes the height difference right here. Let's see, there we go. Mark was probably, I'm guessing, almost 2 feet taller than me. And we were always roughhousing, and eventually I would get hurt by this guy, but we continued to be friends. And he was just a gentle giant, but just his size difference. I was always getting crushed, broken, or squeezed by this guy. But we continued to be good friends all the way until 7th grade, as I recall. And then our friendships, the three of us, just went our different ways. And it's fascinating how friends in your life come in and out of your life, just like boats passing each other. And this little vignette of a movie captures that brief time that we were friends together. And the next picture, this was the wrestling team at Florissant Junior High School. And this is me right here, the second smallest weight class. I think McDonald was the 87-pound weight class. I was the 93-pound. Mark Horn, here he is. You can see there's still just huge differences. He was probably the tallest guy on the team, but Jerry Butler was the heavyweight, and Mark was the second. I don't recall what the weight class was, but it was approaching like 180 pounds, somewhere around there. But you can see we're basically, he's like twice the weight that I am. And by the time high school came around, we just, all three of us, would say hello to each other, maybe in passing in school, but our friendships just moved on. I just wanted to share these childhood memories. It was just absolutely beautiful, and it was a wonderful time to be alive. Anyway, love all of you. Happy trails always, Joe.